welcome to my podcast, Spiritual Quest, with me, your host, Vibeke Garnos, always guided by Spirit. I am very excited to share my gift with you and empower you to embrace your gift. So if you define yourself as a spiritual human being, then you've come to the right place. So prepare yourself now for an amazing journey where your soul will lead the way. Welcome to a new episode of the Spiritual Quest podcast. Living a soulful life is a choice. Embracing your true essence is a choice. And accepting your spiritual team is also a choice. Having my spirit guide Zarius by my side since childhood and him saving my life at the age of 18, I've often wished that everyone could experience this incredible love, harmony, and divine beauty of the higher realms while still having a human experience on Mother Earth. Trusting the guidance of Spirit is a choice that never fails and always delivers what your heart and soul desire. My guest knows exactly how it is to have a spiritual team working with and through her. Donna-Marie is an intuitive light worker, medium, and facilitator of transformational energy healing. All her work is guided through Source Divine Light energy. And with the help of her spiritual team, which she refers to as the management, she helps people with their ascension process. No doubt, this conversation will be out of this world, and it's my great pleasure to welcome the wonderful, magical Donna-Marie. Welcome. Hello.
That is such a great intro. I'm like, wow.
Yes, I'm talking about you. You're such a wonderful human being and soul, and sharing your gift with the world. I feel so blessed to have met you. And I must start by saying that we were introduced by a mutual friend. And when we connected, I think I told you already then that I said, I feel like we're connected somehow, kind of like soul sisters. We had similar stories. So I'm super excited for you to share. So please, Donna-Marie, share, who are you and why did we connect so well, do you think?
Well, I mean, everyone, what I've learned through this, doing what it is that I do now, we all line up with the people that we're meant to line up and when it's time. So it's all about vibrational connection, when you're in that same space and then things line up for you from wherever the vibration you're at. And for sure in the last, I would say, the last 2.5 to 3 years, there has been so much energetic shifting taking place that light workers have really gotten a lot of rebooting in the last 2 years with the sun flares, the sun codes, and all that is taking place with the intergalactic, as well as there's just so much energy that is very close to the physical earth that we are able to receive now. So before, I could think of when I used to meditate, it would take me so long to get into the ascension to connect. And now you take one breath and you're in, and depending on what your vibration is, you can connect to many different levels of ascension and vibrational intelligence. So I think in the last year, 2.5 years, with everything that has been going on with the physical world, there has been a lot that has come down closer to us, and those who are ready to receive and be ignited or be worked on, it's happening. So I feel like all of us have had an incredible opportunity to calibrate our gifts, our abilities, our psychic awarenesses, whatever we hold, in our dormancy. I feel a lot of it has been activated and refined and preparing us for all the shifts and changes that are taking place. So we're the ones that get schooled first, and then once we are integrated with it, then we're there to help others do the integration as well.
Right? Yes, I so agree with you. And I question them because I don't know your story, in depth. I know your abilities and your gifts because you've shared them with me, and I've experienced how powerful you are and how clear you are on what's going on. But would you please share for people who do not know you, how did you discover your gifts? And how do you use them?
Well, this is the thing, when I say discover your gifts, I don't think it's a discovery. I think I just evolved back to who I am. It was a rediscovering of my energy and who I am. So, we grow up and we're put into the world that we're chosen to come into, and we live in accordance to the social standing and rules until things really don't fit with you anymore, and you're like, this just doesn't feel right, it doesn't fit right, I don't see myself anywhere. And I think from a very young age I felt very different, and so I learned at a really young age to chameleonize myself and make myself fit into any situation and scenario. And I think that, I just learned to detach from who I really was. So there were certain things that happened in my life that reawakened my abilities. And not that I didn't have them, I did. And then I shut them down because I was confused by them. I didn't have anyone in my surroundings or family that could enlighten me. And it wasn't until my 20s that I met a woman who was teaching meditation classes. And she was the one who was saying, oh my God, you have so many abilities and gifts, and when you're ready they'll start to develop. And so they all started to come out after the birth of my daughter. And they often say that if you have a hormonal shift, you can bring forward these gifts. But I just feel like it's always divine timing. It's things are unfolding when it's time to. So I guess that was the journey of me returning to me, and then discovering and uncovering who I am and what it is I do and what I'm designed to do. And I had a lot of abilities that came out all at once. It was incredibly overwhelming
Wow.
and very difficult to understand and then try to learn. And then, this is where management stepped in and said, listen, you can take it one at a time and don't have to do all of it. You're gonna have to learn how to integrate it with your physical life. And as you go on, you'll have an understanding of why this is being brought you, why it's being reactivated again within you. And it was really in the whole beginning of 2020 when the whole pandemic, for lack of a word, started. And that's when they were saying that they wanted me to get onto platforms. And they said, you have one message that you are here to share with others, and this is the message that we want you to stay consistent with through this all that's going to be unfolding. So I was like, okay. And they're like, it is time now for everyone to reclaim their sovereignty. It's an absolute necessity, and you must teach them to reclaim their power. Teach them they are powerful, that they are powerful beings, but they must reclaim their power because it's being stripped from them right now. And it will continue to if they don't stand up and see what is unfolding. So then I was on all these different, telesummits and podcasts and platforms, and they just had me constantly repeat this message of learning how to connect to your source and connect to your light, and like to come back and sit back in the seat of your soul and reclaim that which is you, the gifts that are you, the intelligence that is you, the abilities that are you. Line up with it every day, connect with it every day, and allow it to demonstrate what your life is here to be and do through your governance. So as that was unfolding, because I am a medium, all the work and information was channeled. But then what happened, the shift that took place for me, because there's been a million shifts. I mean, as you know, we as we get very good at a certain gift or ability, then another one develops, and then another one develops. So then you have all these tool sets that you're like, wow. And they're doing this, and I'm like, oh, do I do that? I know how to do that. They're like, yeah, you know how to do that. Here, we're going to do this. So what I really became very good at was trusting what was being brought to me to be translated to others. And they really started using me as a vehicle to be like Wi-Fi for the person I was communicating with.
Wow, I love
They,
you said that because I want to share something, Donna-Marie, because when I started, was asked by Zarius to open up for the Zarius and the Order of Seven, and they wanted to channel through me. We or I built that trust. They said you have to build that trust with us and trust in yourself and your ability to share that unconditionally, so that you have no restrictions in how this is being presented and how you as a human being are looking at the world. So to be a pure channel, to be a pure channel of love. And so it was so funny because I've channeled a book called Awaken to the Power of the Universe from Zara's and Order of Seven. It's verbatim. And I use that sometimes when I set my intentions in the morning. And today I used the book and I got the message about trust. And I asked them, what do I need to bring with me today as I meet Donna-Marie? And here we go. Trust the message, trust in the gifts, trust in yourself, stand in your power. And here we are, and you're sharing it. I just love that. There's,
Yeah.
it's coming
And
together.
I'm realizing that now, when we first met, when we were doing the podcast with Janet and you came on and my team said something about you and that you're related to Arcturian and that you're here as like a person for them. And I was telling you all this and you're like, oh, really? Oh, really? Really? And I was like thinking, wow, I'm really surprised she doesn't know this about herself, And then after you start laughing, you're like, everything you're telling me is exactly what has happened. And I was like, what? Because I'm thinking like, oh, have they got it wrong? Because she doesn't seem like to connect. So it was so funny because it was point on. But
Yeah.
this is where I learned, this is where we have to learn to step away, let go and allow, let go and allow. And it's something I'm always being reminded of. And, it's to not go into our head that when we start receiving the information, to just allow it to come through and be received in the way it's supposed to, and not allow the human mind to condition it or have it. It doesn't have to make sense for it to be real or true or purposeful. So, and they'll say sometimes it won't make sense right now, but it will make sense in a month from now or 3 months from now. So it doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to feel right. As long as it feels right, keep going with it. And sometimes I'll hear them talking and then I'm saying it, and in my head I'm going, oh, I don't know if I want to say that. And they're like, say it.
I know exactly what you're saying because they're the same way.
And they're like, say it. And I remember and this was the time I remember I thought that was the lesson I needed to just, whatever's meant to come through, comes through. And this is what I'll say when I'm working with people. You're going to receive exactly what you're meant to receive. And I have no idea what that is, but it's going to be what you need to receive. Not need, I hate using that word, but what is meant to be received by you, what your spirit is
I
ready to
is
receive.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember doing a reading for this woman, and then it was an incredible reading, and she had so many loved ones that were coming in and talking and sharing and da 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 da. And this word kept coming through, like just being injected in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, why does that word keep, like, what is that word? But I'm completely ignoring it. I'm not saying anything because it didn't follow the storyline that was coming through with everybody else. It just didn't make sense. And then at the end of the reading, I said to the woman, I said, like that was really great. They answered so many questions. They gave her so much insight. There was so much healing that came through for her. It was really a big reading. And then she goes, well, I'm a little disappointed. And I just was like, what? Like, how could you be disappointed after? Because it was she goes, well, because I had really wanted to connect with my mother. And she's the only one that didn't come through.
Mm.
And she said, as I was driving over here, and she said, I was just really surprised. She says, as I was driving over here, I said to her, if you're here, call me by my nickname. And I literally got shivers and froze. And I was like, oh, shit. And I go, well, is your nickname? And I said the word that kept like, and she burst into tears, started crying. Because
Yeah.
it was her mother trying to say the nickname so that I didn't know. I just carrying this thing like, it doesn't make sense. So I wasn't saying it. So
Yeah.
it was that really made me stop filtering what I was receiving. And I'm like, no, this is what they're telling me. This is what this person needs to hear. It doesn't have to make sense to me. And they've said it doesn't have to make sense to them. They're receiving what they're meant to receive. And that's where I really started placing my trust in letting go of what I think or how I think it should be and letting it come through. And this is really where I started to develop more of my abilities.
Yes.
That's when they started showing me other ways of doing things. And they're like, okay, now you're going to do this. Now you're going to do that. You're going to show them to that. Now we're doing this. So I was like, I know how to do that. And they're like, yeah. So it's then when I released I think I need to know. Ironically, I don't need to know anything. I need to be. I need to be in the vibrational alignment and the ascension and the frequency to receive. This is why I call myself, or they call me, Wi Fi. They go, all we want you to do is show up. show up as you, be in your vibration. We've got it from here. So there's no preempting, there's no pre have to do anything. I'm like, I know that now. So this is where I trust and know that whatever is meant to be brought forward, it will be.
Mm,
So I have to worry
yeah.
about it, which is believing, you know?
So I wonder, when you grew up, like you said, you had to rediscover your gifts. You were probably an adult by then. You had your child. So how was it growing up? Did you have those abilities? Did you experience? We know that as children, me myself, I had Sarius. I can recall playing with him when I was a kid, and I saw my girl, who's now 15, play with her guardian angel and my spirit guides as well, and like orbs, she would play them, and she would tell me that they would sit on her hand, and it would
Mm.
tinkle. She said, and she would just love playing. And I remember one day I heard them laughing so bad, and I said, "What's going on?" It was just such a joyful laughter. My oldest and my youngest, and go, "We're playing with Zarias in the Order of Seven. They're like placing themselves all over us, and it's tingling." I was like, "That is so amazing!"
I know. I mean, the thing is that I did have a lot of experiences, but it was always dismissed. I was like, oh, it's Donna-Marie. They don't say she's in her own world. She's in her own bubble, this child. Like she's off doing her, la la land. And so I just thought, oh, that's just me. Like I didn't, I had these, there was this one, I remember on the house that we lived that I was growing up in, there was this little brick and there was a hole in the brick. And I used to stand there and I would receive information. And I used to say, oh, I have an imaginary friend and he lives there in the brick. I would get information and I'd be like leaning there on the balcony talking away, and my mom would come up. I was really little. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm talking to my friend. And she's like, where is your friend? I go, it's in the brick. Pointing to the little hole. And I was actually having conversations with my mother's like, what? So I think that just because it was kind of like, okay, whatever, I never put any measure into it. And when I got a little bit older, I remember being hypersensitive to energies and to people. I could feel things that I couldn't understand. I remember my dad going away on business trips, and I'd be like upstairs in my bedroom doing homework, and then I'd say to my mom, "Oh, Daddy just got his deal. His deal just went through." And the phone would ring 2 minutes later, and he'd be calling from Madrid, and he's like, "Hey, I got the deal." Da da da. So I would have these things like that, but no one said anything about it, and I was just like, "Okay, whatever." So um, it wasn't me looking and seeing what is this. I couldn't sleep at night. I had a really hard time sleeping as a little girl. I would always feel things, could feel energies move around in the room, and I never felt alone. And I didn't like that. It made me feel fearful to fall asleep, because I said, "Ooh, some things can get me while I'm asleep." So that was a big issue for me too. But again, everyone just thought, she can't fall asleep. Because nothing was explained for me. So I just thought, okay, it's odd. But I remember getting in my teens and feeling things about people, or I would see somebody. I can read faces energetically. And I remember when I was young, I'd look at someone, they'd be talking, and I'd be like, this person's completely lying. I know this person is completely lying. Or so, and I wouldn't know where I would know that from, So it wasn't until my 20s when I started taking these meditation classes that the woman who was teaching the class was incredible. She ended up becoming one of my mentors, one of my first mentors, and she's the one who schooled me on me. She helped me understand the things that I was experiencing, why I was experiencing, and then she started teaching me about it and helping me to kind of, says, there's so much more that you can develop if you want to develop it, and so it was a slow, started in my 20s, and then I started doing meditation and practicing meditation, and it just kind of, I can't explain it. It's one of those things that you do just because it's what you are. It's when people say, what do you do for work, and I kind of laugh now when even they say the word work. It's not work. This is a vocation. This is what I'm designed to be doing. This is truly, I am made up to be doing this, and whatever else after this, I don't know. I don't feel like we're so multifaceted, and I think we learn more of our different abilities as we move into higher vibrational ascensions,
Yeah.
because then we can connect with other vibrational light information, intelligence, and beings. So Now
I
it's
understand
just like,
completely. I just want to share something because I remember, I think it was about 15 years ago when I started out and when I had that reawakening where Sari said, you have to trust me. I will get you on that TV show, but in if you get on the TV show, you must promise me this is the deal I made with Spirit that you will trust and devote your life in service and allow me to guide you. And that's why I
mm,
always say, always guided by spirit, because I always been, but that was a deal I had to be made because I was an adult and you have responsibilities. And
yeah.
so, of course, I did get on the show and all that, and I had promised. So I started to speak about this, and I was remember I was invited on a radio show, and they asked me, so how would you describe yourself? And I'm like, I don't know. How do I describe? Am I a
So,
medium or am I? And I'm just me because they were so up, wanting me to be or have a label, if you wish, so they could put me in one or the other box. And every time they tried, I said, no. Well, you could probably call me that, but there's more to that. There's more to me. So I could never figure out when people ask me that. I'm like, no, I'm just me. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just me.
So
I don't know how to define myself. Even today, it's like, what's your ability, Vivek? How do you define yourself? I'm like, I'm a medium. Well, I'm a clairvoyant. I'm all of that, but I'm just a spirit. I'm a spirit. I'm a soul having a human experience, and I'm just very myself. I'm very in tune with my soul, and that's all I know. I don't know how to explain it
yeah,
otherwise.
I think that as we go forward and getting more out of the 3D and into the 5D, that won't be necessary. Boxing yourself in, labeling yourself in, categorizing yourself in. I think it's going to become very diminished. And this is what was really bothering me when I was, because I was not on social media. I was then out and you couldn't find me anywhere. People call like, "Where are you? We can't see you anywhere. Like you're not anywhere." I'm like, "I'm busy. I'm over here working. I got stuff to do." Like I'll get to that later. And I remember when the girl was trying to set up my webpage, and she goes, "There's no category for you. Like, what can we pick that's kind of like you? Because they don't have a category, and when I suggest it, we can't put it in." And I was laughing, and I said, "Yeah, well, there isn't any categories that we can choose from right now." And that's when my spirit team came in, and they said, "Well, in a nutshell, you're Wi-Fi. We use you as Wi-Fi. We place you and put you in places and on stages, and we're just facilitating through you. So you are a facilitator, and through us facilitating, you're allowing for transformation to take place." And then they said it so that you're a facilitator of transformational energy. And I was like,
Love
"Oh
that.
yeah,
I love that because yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly what we are. But I
exactly."
remember Zaria said to me that also when I had that discussion, kind of who am I? Because I channel, so I go into a trance, and they I'm a trance medium, if you wish. Again, a label just to describe
Yes.
I'm in deep hypnosis or an altered state as they come forward. And so it's so funny because they said, so how do I define this? How do I explain it? And they just go, well, you're a channel of love. That's
There you go.
it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm a channel like everyone else. But yeah, that's who I am. I just love that. The simplest thing, right?
Yeah, it is because it's like well, I think what I've realized the most is that we can't be defined because we're so multi-dimensional and multifaceted. It's just where we choose to place our energy at that time, and then you can place it somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. And so, what are you really? That's like the mother who wears all the hats. She's the CEO, she's the nurse, she's the mother, she's the cook, she's the house cleaner, she's the yeah. I mean, how many hats can you wear? It's the same thing. We're very multidimensional, but people try to define us or bring us into a space where how do I present you?
So, how do you go about teaching people who come to you about this topic of being authentic and being themselves? How do you help people discover that?
Well, they first have to understand themselves. A lot of people who come to me don't even have that. They're self-aware, but they don't really know who they are. Do you know what I mean? They're self-aware in the literal terms like, well, this is what I do, this is where I work, this is the title of my job, this is the amount of money I make, this kind of neighborhood I live in. So they're aware of that, but they're not aware of their essence, their gifts, their abilities, like what is the course creation that their soul is here to express and experience. So yeah, you know all this part, but do you know the other part? So I bring them first back to them. I the work I do is designed to return people to their truth and their wisdom and their gifts. And from that place, they can go forward and create and receive the return of the abundance that is theirs, designed for them. So it's teaching people how to come back into their power, relearn themselves, reclaim themselves, and then live from that place. Because now you're living in your divine essence. You're living with all of your wisdom. You're living with all of your gifts, and you're just allowing life to unfold for you instead of running after life and trying to do it. This is standing in a place of vibrational beingness where you emanate and you allow this energy to come out. Now you're standing there allowing for what is to be returned to you. So it's a very different mindset from the way we're raised, but it's much easier and much more fulfilling. So that's really what I do. It's
Yeah,
helping them come back to
yeah,
themselves.
the embodiment of taking ownership. Not only that, I think we're through these times or on Earth, the last decade or the century, it's been so much masculine energy. I'm sure you've felt that yourself, and now we're shifting. Yeah, we're really shifting, right? So how do you, when you meet your people, prior to the pandemic, um, prior to, I call it the shift. So a lot of people went through this shift,
Yeah,
and
right.
so going through this shift, do you think people are more aware of the feminine, the masculine, the embodiment of your wholeness and your vibration? Or do you feel, what's your experience? What does the management say?
Well, I think it's more about coming into balance, first of all, to feel balanced from within. And it's to understand that you'd have both the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you, and it's learning how to use it like a to use it to your favor. So sometimes you have to lean more into the masculine depending on what the situation is, and sometimes you have to lean more into the feminine depending on what that situation. But it has nothing to do with gender identity. It's not about whether you are a man or a woman. It's learning how to use those two skills. They're very different, very strong, and very powerful, but it's how to use them in accordance to support you and the life that you're living and what it is that you're executing through your soul's purpose. So um, we're at such a discord. Everything is in such an extreme imbalance right now. It was incredibly, the world was being run by men, operated by men, and me for thousands and thousands of years. These incredible women and gifted women, intelligent women, had to stand behind the man and the man's, you know what I mean? Like, behind
Yes,
every good
I know
woman.
exactly. That's why I asked
Yeah.
this question. We need more. More.
But it's happening now. It's happening now. So as the unfolding, this old paradigm is being shifted and cleared and transmuted, because it has to be transmuted. Well, what is coming through are the divine women who are coming back and reclaiming their power, their position. Because with that, well, I mean, it used to be that way. It used to be the women that ruled the world, and that's when everything was in balance. It became unbalanced when men started to take over, and then it was more towards ego and greed and domination. So now it's kind of it went from that, and now it's kind of coming back over to that, but it's got to go like this in the middle. So we're living the extremes right now. But I do see, and it will continue to be, a lot of women that are going to be coming up and taking prominent places within the world and in terms of kind of leadership. And what is happening now, and I'm experiencing it now with the men that I'm working with, because I do a lot of transformational mentorship programs. And the men that I work with, these are all incredibly gifted light workers who are dormant or semi-dormant, and they have a very beautiful balance of the divine feminine, divine masculine. So these are a new kind of man, let's just say, that can stand beside a strong woman and not feel disempowered, but feel even more empowered, being able to hold space for her. So these men are being reawakened to be the space keepers and the space holders, to allow this strong woman to stand but stand shoulder to shoulder with someone who can see them, see their power, see their beauty, see their light, and it does not diminish them in any way. It makes them feel even stronger to know they can hold space for her. And these are power couples, and they're going to be coming. We will be experiencing them. And I don't mean a power couple like you know in Hollywood, but
I get what you're saying.
two people standing in their truth and their light, and not one has to outshine the other to feel strong and powerful. And because they don't have to, they glow and go up higher as a result of that. So these are the new men that are actually, they're here, but
Yes.
they're being reactivated and rebirthed into this awareness. And of course, it's all conscious awareness, right? So it's once you get to that level of understanding, the wisdom is reactivated, and then it just starts to assimilate, and these men and women start to find themselves again. So this is happening now. There's a lot of what I've been experiencing, and I'm not saying that that's the only thing, but I've seen a lot of the Atlantean men and Lemurian men, Egyptian men they're being reprocessed, let's just say, to kind of come in because they have incredible strength, power, and wisdom, especially a lot of wisdom that can be lent in support of these women who are going to take back the world with loving hands.
Oh, I loved every word that you said. I mean, that just, as a mother myself, I feel what you just gifted now is like, yes, this is what I want for my children, for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking at standing united with, finding a partner, whether they choose a male or a female, like gender wise, doesn't matter, but it's the energy of that that's so important to lift each other, not to need each other, but to um, be part of that union and to be
Exactly.
stronger, right? And so it
Mm-hmm.
brings so much hope. Whatever you're telling now, it brings so much hope for this planet and for humanity. And so this was just beautiful, beautiful. So relationships, so that's what we're actually talking a little bit about now. So how would you define, ask the management. I would love to hear their thought of, um,
What's the question?
yeah, when it comes to future relationships between two human beings. I'm not putting in gender wise, just saying human beings, because that's the
They're
future.
right now. They just came through. So they said the key to the relationships moving forward is based on respect and solely respect. So respect of the other, respect of their choices, respect of their decisions, the respect the way they choose to do things, not challenge it, not demean it, not need it to be differently than how they choose it to be. If you can stand in allowance next to someone and allow them to truly be who you are being respectful to them, that is how they can then return that same respect to you. It is in that way that these relationships are going to evolve, because when we latch on to someone out of insecurity or lack, or we don't feel like we have enough, or we need someone to come in and have a sense of security to us, it's all need, need, need. So this is not a healthy union.
Yeah.
And if that person leaves you and you feel like that person was everything to you and now they're gone, you're going to feel like nothing. Well, that's shit. That's not going to work for you either. So you need to, the understanding that they have made me understand is that person, each person, and I say this all the time when people want to meet somebody, I said, look at where you're at right now in your life. Life is a little shit show right now. Trust me, that's what you're emanating. You don't want that to come back to you. So the universe is being really kind by keeping everything at bay until you come back to loving yourself, being good with yourself. Like when you're in love with yourself and really love your life and love what you're doing, I think that's when things show up for you, because you're not needing anything. You got it all under control. Doesn't mean that you're not wanting to have someone to share all the things that you love with you. I think that's really important to be able to share, have somebody to share it with. But there's a big difference with wanting someone to come in to be a harmony to your life, or needing someone to be the song, the lyrics, and the orchestra. It's like, no, no. I'm gonna sing my song. You can come and hum beside me, and you can
We
sing
can have
your
two
song.
voices.
Yeah, and I'll
Sing
come and hum
duo.
beside. Yeah. So I think that it's just about being respectful, but you have to know who you are, be well with who you are before you want to hook up with somebody else, because whatever spots they're still lack or missing, you're going to expect them to fill it, and then if they walk away, you're going to be disappointed. So, and I've had my fair share of like shitty relationships, I can assure you. And I've learned an immense amount about myself through them. But I think that, before wanting a divine counterpart, I think you need to be in love with you, in love with who you are, in love with your life, and live from that fullness. And then allow that person who can come in and really see you in all of your light, love what they say, and say, oh, this is so much fun, let's do this together, like, let's have this. But I even feel the word relationship is going to shift and change. It's not this needy, I don't need you, you don't need me for that, but oh my God, let's do this together. It's so much more fun. You're in a vibrational exchange that just feels good for each other, So I think
Yes,
that's
and
where we need
this is
to
what we
go.
need for our planet as well. And we need to find that, first of all, have a good relationship, a loving relationship with ourselves, then
Yeah.
a relationship with our family and friends, and that energy will evolve. And we'll have, I can just imagine how beautiful this planet would be if we could show that respect and allow people to grow without trying to control or, you know, define how evolving should look like or what growth should
Well,
be like.
and not just that, but I think when you take the word respect, it's like, if that person's not right for you, that's okay. Let it go. Respect where they're at. Respect that they're not there yet. Instead of fighting it, trying to make it happen, making them feel guilty because they are. It's like, hey, 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 they're not there. Okay? Respect that. So you can either respect it and follow into a flow of allowance, or you can, I just feel like, I don't know, because everybody's shifting so much and people are trying to find new places of being. I don't think that I don't think you should apply yourself to anything if you aren't full, whole, well, and complete, because then the task is not being really well done. So I feel like, just place your importance on your well-being, and then let the cup runneth over, and then allow everyone else to receive from the running over. Why? Because there's no animosity when you give. You have so much, they're getting the in French it's called le surplus, it's the extra. And so there's, if you're always full, you're always taking care of your own needs, your own energies, then you're always happy to give from the runoff. So there's no animosity. I did this and I gave you that, and you're like, okay, well, and then you're emptying your cup to give to somebody else. Big no. Like,
Yes, big
fill
no.
your cup first, and and if everybody did that, then everyone gives much more easily, much more freely, because there's no emptiness. You know.
Yes. What does management say about the control part that, when we're talking now, we're saying, embrace your own energy, stand in your power, do you, right? Just do you, and you will overflow, and that energy you will gift others that energy. But we
Mm-hmm.
know that there's others, we're on Mother Earth. There's duality, there's love and
Mm-hmm.
fear, there's light and dark. So, what do they say about the dark entities or the dark vibrations, to call it that? Um, what when it comes to the light and what's going on in the shift that we are experiencing now? How does the dark or the lower vibrations react to this, and how can we protect ourselves?
Oof. Well, I mean, that's so different for everybody. It depends on what you're energetically capable of protecting for your own vibration. That's one thing. Um, it's so funny because, in the last like 3.5 years, all they keep saying to me is, don't engage, don't engage, don't engage. So meaning, don't open the doors to that which you do not want brought into your home. So stay on your path, do your thing. And I've had a lot of attacks regardless. But they're saying, you can't have the light without the dark, the truth, like the pain without the love. There's a beautiful, they're going, it's not to see it as bad. It's all necessary. It's all growth. And when you start to look at it like that, your perspective changes completely. So let's just say you can take a world leader who you think is an asshole, and all your focus and energy goes on to, this guy's this and is that. So you're amplifying his energy. The more hate you send him, and if he's in that negative energy, you're actually making him stronger. A. The second thing is to you to understand that this person is a catalyst for your growth. What you don't like, what they're oppressing, or what they're doing, you could either stand there and let it happen, or find another way, rise up. So all these things, whether they keep saying to me, it's not about good or bad or dark or light. These are all necessary evolutions that are taking place for exponential growth. And when you can see it as this person, as terrible as you think they are, they're also playing a role as a catalyst to provoke you to raise your light. So now, is it bad? I mean, it doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, but something good is coming from it.
Yes.
So now you're kind of standing there going, oh, so this is just the process. And they're like, yes. Mm-hmm. So it's who's in the awareness of understanding that, who's utilizing that to the best for, it's like, the one that knows better should do better, whether the other people understand or not. You do it anyways. So we have a lot of people that are on the earth right now that are standing in their truth, standing in their light, and not being well received by others, but have an ability to detach regardless and say, I know it's not making sense to them, but I know what needs to be done. I'm going to continue, and I will persevere and continue to do it. So there's a lot of strength right now on the planet, immeasurable strength. And it's that strength of those souls who are here in a committed intention and orientation to raise their light, and as their light raises, then they raise the light of others.
Yes. That's what I call the soul perspective, living from the soul state. Allowing
Yes.
your light and being in your power and always doing what you know is the right. Um, what do you call it? Right is not a word I like, but I can't find another word in English right now. But you
With
do
what
what,
feels aligned. With
yes,
what feels
correct.
aligned.
Yes. So when we think about, the upcoming year, because we're in November when we're recording this, and it's not long until we have a new year. So any suggestions from the management on how we can utilize the energies of the next year to, stand in our power, to grow, to expand, to evolve? Any good tips?
Absolutely. We don't have to wait till the next year. It's always, it's actually, there's no, how do I say this? Let me find the proper words. This is what they say over and over again to me, and I probably say it a million times to all of the people that I work with. The only power we have is the power of present moment, because we are fully integrated and fully aware in our present moment. So that's the only place where we have true control over a situation. So if we want to have control, it's only in our present thoughts, what those thoughts are, what they're generating energetically, and what they're extending forward. Because as we think, energy moves, energy flows. So if we want things to be better in 2023, 4, 5, 6, whatever, it's not about hoping that things are going to be better then, or hoping that it's going to be lighter then. It's all dependent on now, on how we're thinking now, how we're acting now, what we're generating now, what we're sending up vibrationally now. That is the indicator to the future. So it's funny when people think, well, what's coming, what's coming? I would say, well, what's sending? Because whatever's being sent,
You're right.
that's going to come. So it's like, well, okay, wow. So if everyone just agreed that this is how it's going to be, and everyone's going to go in that alignment, it's just going to be light, it's just going to be good, it's just going to be, all the solutions we'll found, we don't know what they're going to be, but they're going to be, and everyone just stayed there, by law of attraction, law of default. That's the way it would go, because what goes out is what is returned. So I always think it's funny when they say when they want a psychic reading, and I'm thinking, well, if you want to be sure of something, put your money on the now.
Yes.
So if you're projecting, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be phenomenal. I don't know what phenomenal is, but it's going to be thinking where people are happy, they're alive. Like, you can hold the vibration and the intention and the energy in present time, and that's basically the only time that you have power in, where your energy is being projected and going out, and now you're co-creating, and there's a vibrational return to that. So if everyone stopped for a second to choose the outcome, that's the outcome they would get.
Yes, I like that. And not only that, I mean, looking at the vibrations of the universe, there's always winds. I like the way Zarius in the Order of Seven says it. There's cold winds and warm winds, and they fluctuate like waves, right? And so which wave are you riding? You choose the wave, what you
It's
want
so
to
true.
experience. Yeah. And so I just think about myself when I'm thinking, okay, so what is my intention for my life? What's my motivation? What's my drive? Why am I here? How can I serve? And listening to what makes my heart bubble with joy, because I really do listen to what my heart is saying and how I feel in the moment when I think about it, and I dive into that, and I really
Yes.
visualize. And I like the way of a journey, like a rainbow visionary is what I call it. Like I'm
I love
using
it.
all my colors and I'm visionarying, and I'm like trying to co-create with the universe, what is in store for me? What is my soul wanting? How can I really unfold and use my soul's resources so that I can really feel that power and that joy, if you wish? And I allow that. And when I do that every morning by setting my intention and I go into that state and I connect with that feeling, I know it's a knowingness that all is well, and you can
Hmm.
release the pat. It's only that moment, and that's okay, because that's what's going to propel you forward. That's the wave that I'm riding, so I'll do that to keep myself afloat every day. I think that's maybe the best tip I have when it comes to being a co-creator in the daily or in every moment, more or less, is to have that
Yeah.
sacred space and time with yourself. So what
Oh,
do you
absolutely.
do, like, for your personal well-being, Donna-Marie? What do you do?
Um, well, I'm really, really impacted by the elements. Like the elements completely soothe me vibrationally. So in the work that I do, I move from very high vibrational dimensions. The chords, the alignments that I connect with are high. So I have to be super vigilant on letting my physical body regenerate, and I regenerate incredibly well with nature. I'm very fortunate. I live on a lake. I have a beautiful environment to receive constant energetic support all the time. And, for me to take care of myself, I will do my grounding every day because I'm incredibly aware, especially with what I do and what I'm connecting with, how I can't sidestep that. That is just like oxygen for the lungs. I need to be grounded. I need to be connected. I need to be sealed. I call in my team every morning. Um, and I go right into my alignment. I go right into my vibration. I know that after that there's nothing for me to do. I just need to be in the highest vibratory attunement that I'm able to at this time, and whatever's meant to be facilitated through me will be facilitated. So I go like that, and that's the best way to go because that's the best things that come through me like that. So drinking a ton of water because it's electric, the energy that so I need to be drinking always water, 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 all through the day, all through my day when I'm working and I have clients. And when I'm working with clients, I have everybody drink too, because my energy team works through a lot of clearing energies. And so they're constantly flushing, flushing, flushing. Um, you know, the most important thing for me to maintain my vibration is to maintain my happiness. So I have to do the things that keep me happy, be with the people that bring me happiness, do the activities that return happiness to me. So joy, being silly. I'm very it doesn't take a lot to make me happy. I'm happy easily.
I get that
But
sense.
the things that I love to do, I make sure that I do them so that I'm in that conscious state. Like you can look at the world all around you and say it's terrible, or you can look all the world all around you and say it's beautiful. It's where are you placing your attention and your focus? Because wherever it is, that's what you're going to see more of. So
Mm.
when you have an imbalance like we have been having, it's not that I am not able to see what's going on or not able to gauge or understand. I'm choosing not to allow it to be my focus. Yes, it's happening. Yes, I see it. I understand. I understand very well what's going on, but this is the highway I'm getting on, and this is the return I want for myself. So I disengage and re-engage in where I want the return, and that's what I teach my the people that I work with. I said if we are constantly allowing outside sources to impact our well-being, we are always at the mercy of everyone else.
Yes.
Powerless. So I
Mm.
said, take your power back by, you're allowed to acknowledge it, you can confront it, you can see it. don't let it come in and direct you, you know? So it doesn't work that way, because now you're always at the mercy of everything outside of you. You want to live your whole day like that? Well, what's going to happen? I don't know. What are they going to say? What are they going to do? What do they decide? Fuck that. Like, no, sorry. But it's like, no, I'm choosing. No matter what happens out there, this is how I'm going to feel this way. I'm going to do it this way. And so you stand in alignment to what is right and true for you, and you hold that. And then that's exactly what will be returned to you. You know, it's not dismissing what's there. You're aware. Ah, I see it. Just not going to play in their circus. I got a really nice playground over here. I'm going to my playground.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
learning how to live. You know, there's all different realms of consciousness, consciousness awareness. It's just choosing where you want to be placing your energy and your attention.
Yes.
You know,
You're so
not
right.
wanting to take that on.
So what do you offer, Donna-Marie? I know you have some courses or classes. You told me a little bit about it, and I would like
Yes.
you to share a little bit. I'm very intrigued by, what you're teaching. So would you please just share?
Yeah, so all the program, I used to do a lot of different programs, and they were all channeled through me. So everything was written like, okay, this is what we want you to share next. It's always about what we want you to share. This is what we want you to share next. This is what we want you to share next. And I have the majority of my work is through mentorship programs. So it's people who come to me and I work one-on-one with for extended periods of time, who really want to come back in and claim all of their power and learn all of their gifts, and align from all of their energy, because you know, the fastest way out is through. So once you come through yourself and back out again, now you're fully connected to your gifts and your abilities and your wisdom. And so life takes on a completely different turn. You have to understand your vibration. We're living in a vibrational world. You need to understand your vibration. You need to know how to regulate your vibration if you want the full return on the abundance of where you're extending your energy. So I teach people how to reset themselves energetically to get the full return that they are extending outward. In my programs, that I was doing, well, I do a satsang, a monthly satsang, which is a really beautiful, beautiful um, activation that is done once a month, and this is done with the intergalactics. So they started coming in about 2 years ago, giving messages to me. This is your family out there we're talking about. So with the Arcturians, the Pleiades, the Sirians, and started communicating, bridging information of what was happening in the physical world and what they were here to serve us with and support us with, and how to facilitate information that could be beneficial. So they started working through me and doing really incredible. I mean, as the intelligence and the way that they facilitate energy is mind-boggling. I look at our doctors and our hospitals, and it's almost like kindergarten what they're doing in terms of what these people are doing, and there's like, oh, it's done. Okay. You're like, well, that was fast. Yeah, it should all be like that, right? So we're getting there. The amalgamation is getting there, but so they've given me a lot of insight. So that's not saying I do it once a month, and they come in and they'll talk a little bit about what's happening with the world, what's happening energetically, how it's impacting us physically, and they'll do a nice clearing of our energy so that we can get recentered. Especially, they're doing a lot of frequency resets because our frequencies have been so out of balance. And then they'll do a nice activation. So you walk away with a lot. Those are great. Absolutely love them. That is once a month. It's called the Saturday Satsang. And then I have programs that they started channeling in January, and this is called the 21 Days. And this was where they really wanted people to work. They wanted to work with people consecutively so that people could step into the energy, but not just for one reading or one session and then it disappears. It's like, no, 21 days, we're going to come in, we're going to clear them vibrationally, we're going to ground them, and then we're going to bring in a channeled activation that's going to be in service to them for their whole day and for 21 days, so that they know what it feels like to receive, to clear, to activate. And by the end of the 21 days, it's a transformational program. Like, everybody will go like, oh my God, this happened, that happened, that happened. And their intention is really just to show them, if you do this every day, what your power is, how your life can be, the way it can. So it's just kind of bringing them back to their own awareness. Everything my team asks of me is to hand people back their power.
Mm.
Remind them they have power and then show them, if they don't know what it is, show them the way back and place them in it, and then, you know, go live your life empowered.
I love it. I love it. I feel so connected to you and the work you do, Donna-Marie. I've had a group for 10 years. It's been 10 years now, and I've
Wow.
started out channeling. They're the ones who I channeled the book for. And they've been, great people, and we've been on a journey together. They've seen me
Mm,
evolve as a channel, and I've watched their lives and how they have gotten the information, done the activations, and we've been on spiritual trips around the world, um,
wow.
because spirit called on us. So we call them the sacred missions. So the last one I did was in 2018. Me and another woman was sent to Sedona. I was in Las Vegas, and I did a session there at a doctor's office, actually, where I channeled and I spoke about the upcoming shift. We didn't know anything about the pandemic at that moment. It was actually in 2019, but I knew that in 2020, because they always told us this, it's in the book, and the book came out in 2014, that in 2020, the dimension of unity and how the shift would occur and what would happen to humanity, and many people will choose to leave. And these people have joined me and been with me for 10 years, knowing and been facilitating this and been going on this sacred mission, trusting the divine guidance. And we've
Yes.
seen and experienced some things that cannot be described or understood in our realm of this, because it's another dimension. When we open that sacred space and we go into these missions, we see things, and we experience things that are out of this world. And for people who's not into that, it's very, very hard to
Hmm.
discuss and to share. But I can share these things with you. And like I said, we've been together for 10 years. We're still there. And I remember the first time one of these people have been with me for 15 years. And it just knowing that that information that is gifted through us as channels, that power, and they would never have stayed unless what is being brought forward through these divine messages help them to reconnect and to stand in their power.
Exactly.
It's just, that's the thing. It's the living, they're living the example of following their spirit, allowing the soul to lead the way, and trusting the divine guidance. They're just
Yep.
amazing people, and I just wanted to share that because they deserve, because I know what it takes to be invested, because I've done it, because it's my journey, it's my life. That's why I'm here. And they are feeling the same way. And we do this
Mm,
together. It's not that I'm only their channeler or whatever, or their spiritual coach, or whatever label you want to give them. We are human beings, souls having a human experience, walking next to each other, holding hands, trying to make a difference and lighting up the path as we do this work together. I couldn't be a channel without them. They are giving,
exactly. Oh
it's,
yeah.
that's the thing. So it's just,
Uh,
yeah,
I
coming together and doing this in the dimension of unity. And that's how I feel about you as well, Donna-Marie.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And I feel the same way too. You know, I look at all of my clients who I've been, because I have been doing the work that I'm doing as a practice. I guess I'd say started around, it's been at least 10 years minimum. And the majority of my clients have been with me for 10 years. It's very similar to you. And I have watched them evolve, but they've also watched me evolve. I mean, even, I think of what I was doing last year. My energy has changed so much. So much has expanded since then. And now it's like every month there's new, and there's this, and I can do that. It's shifting so fast now. It's like at a really rapid speed. And I'm like, oh, wow, 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 wow. So they're getting to witness it, me going through my evolution. What I love is that as I go through my evolution, I can extend and then offer them more evolution for themselves. So it's this constant, we're all here. Like when I was telling them the 21 days, because now we're closing our fifth program, and this I was just telling you about, it's about hand activation. So, we all used to use our hands and our hands were incredibly gifted and tools. They were tools, literally. And so they said, okay, this program, we want you to teach them how to reactivate their hands for imprinting, for healing, for clearing, for automatic writing. And it's how to receive, how to utilize it, how to hold the information, and then how to release it back out again. And this group has been with me since the beginning, and they're like, this is so crazy good, you know? But when they come and they talk about how they feel it, how they see it, what they've experienced, what they wrote, it's so different for each one. And this is where the teacher becomes the student. And I'm not that I'm saying I'm a teacher, because I don't even like using that word, because I'm here sharing something that I have no information on. And as I extend it with you, now you know it. And so it's shared back and forth. You know, I don't know more than you. I just know what I know, and I'm sharing what I know. So watching them receive and watching them learn of it, each in their own way, it's constantly reminding me of our individuality, and that it's, you know, there's no right, wrong way to receive energy. You're going to receive it exactly the way you're meant to. It's going to align exactly what's meant to be. So when other people are seeing this, they feel empowered as well. Because they're like, oh, I felt it like this. Oh, I didn't feel like that, but I got it like that. Oh, I didn't feel like that, but I got it like that. So now people are like, oh, ha, 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 ha. You know, if they see one person, that one person always receives it that one way, they think that's the way. And you're like, no, 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 not at all. That's just the way I receive it. You know, you might receive it completely differently. So again, it's about learning and helping other people grow and claim all of their abilities, understand that they have these abilities. Everybody does. And it's to reactivate them so you have more fun in life. You know, it's supposed to be fun. They keep saying this all the time. Remind them, it's supposed to be fun. They should be playing, they should be having fun, whatever they're doing, whatever their job is, mother, father, school. It should be in an energy of enjoyment and pleasure, because then it's aligned for them, you know. And I think this is what is all going to be brought back as we make these adjustments of the dismantling of the old way and stepping into and co-creating a new way of living, humans living. It's meant to be in flow and ease.
Yes.
That's really how it's designed. So when you're not in flow and ease, it's to show you how far removed you are from how it's supposed to be. Good indicator.
Thank you so much for this, Donna-Marie. This conversation has been out of this world. Like I said, it's been all over the place,
Great.
but I think we've discussed a lot of, interesting things for being humans, right? And discovering and rediscovering our souls and all our gifts. It's really beautiful that we can share this and gift others, pay it forward. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And for us too, you know, the all the ones who are doing this for their professions. I mean, we need each other as much. Do you know what I mean? To
yeah.
gauge and to hear and to, well, I heard this, and what do you know? And like, we're all helping. This is just the school of growth.
Mm.
Earth is the school of growth. So we come back with our innate knowing, our gifts, and our awareness, and it's to redevelop them again and bring them forward in a way that's going to be in service to what is now. Pretty much, you know, that's how it is, and it's supposed to be fun. So thank you for the podcasts that you do. And, you know, when you bring people in and people get to have a taste or an understand, you know, you might listen to 1 hour and you get one thing from it, but that one thing could ripple out and do, like you always say, you never know, you know. And my team always said to me whenever I did the telesummits of the podcast, they always say to me, it doesn't matter how many people come on, it's who comes on.
Yes.
And they go, the ones that are meant to hear it will. And that's all you need to worry about. Not worry about it, but don't worry about anything else. You're
Thank
like,
you so
okay,
much for joining me, Donna-Marie. I truly appreciate
you,
you.
my love. I
And for
totally
everyone listening or watching, if you want to get in touch with Donna-Marie, then you'll find her contact information in the episode summary. But did you know that you can connect with my guests live? Every month I go live with one of my previous guests who will teach on their topic. So make sure you sign up for the Spiritual Quest Newsflash to get notified and join the next Spiritual Quest Livestream Masterclass for free. You'll find the link in the episode description, and I'm pretty sure you'll see Donna-Marie there.
I hope so. I'd love
Yes.
to do that.
Thank you again, and sending you lots of love and light from Donna-Marie and me, Vive Garros, always guided by spirit.
Mm.
Bye.